everybody. My name is Hannah, and this is my sister Abby. We're going to be talking about her journey with mental health, since today is the start of Canada's Mental Health Week. So we're just going to get to know her a little bit more and hopefully have some fun doing it. And maybe a little tears. We'll see what happens. Okay, Abby, so do you want to tell us a little bit about your story and how you started dealing with mental health?
Sure. So my mental health journey started about 5 years ago. 2015 is when it really became a big deal for me. I started struggling a lot with depression and anxiety, and I started learning who I was as a person and those teenage hormones and everything. In 2016, I went through something pretty traumatic, and that's when things got really challenging, to say the least.
Did you want to elaborate at all on that, or just leave it as is? Either way is fine.
Yeah, I mean, in the short, I was sexually assaulted by a coworker, and I didn't feel I had the support system I needed to deal with that. I hadn't started therapy or gotten the help I needed from medical professionals beforehand, so I felt very alone. The situation itself was basically one and done. I didn't have to deal with it after it happened, and over a few months I was able to open up about it and tell people what had happened, and I had all the support I needed, but it was challenging.
That's fair. It's understandable.
Yeah.
So what happened after you started getting the support that you needed? What did life look like?
For quite a while I spent a lot of time feeling guilty and blaming myself. I felt like I had lost myself, essentially. I didn't value myself. I wasn't able to motivate myself to do anything or to feel better. So once I had support and people knew what I was struggling with, I didn't feel so alone, and it was easier because I had people to help hold me accountable and to remind me that it wasn't my fault and that I didn't ask for it to happen and that I wasn't alone.
That's fair. That's understandable. Looking back, is there a piece of advice you would give to somebody else who might have gone through a similar situation?
Yeah, not being able to talk about it is fine. You don't have to be able to talk about it right away. I felt a lot of pressure because of just, like, especially what you see on the media. If you don't open up, then you'll never get help, is said quite a bit, and there's a stigma around that, and I didn't want to feel like I was a victim, so I would say, like, you're doing everything you can when you can, and not to be too hard on yourself.
That makes sense. Thank you. So, as your sister, I know some of the challenges that you have been through and some of the struggles, and I've been through them with you for parts of it.
Yeah.
Do you want to share about your hospital visit at all, that 1 week in March?
Yeah.
And how that came to be and what you learned out of that situation?
So the backstory,
Oh, not this March, this was like a March a couple of years ago.
yeah. In 2017, I started having some health issues. I was struggling to hold down food, and I was having a lot of, they call them abdominal migraines, so basically it's just a migraine that you have throughout your whole body. And the challenge with food just kept getting worse and worse. Some of it was stress, and I was in and out of the hospital quite a bit, and we didn't find anything set in stone. There was no real diagnosis at that point. So, given my mental health history, the talk of eating disorders was thrown around a lot, which was discouraging, but I knew that's not what it was. And then in March of 2018, it had gotten so bad that I wasn't able to hold down water. So I had gone a few days, and my body was just deprived of everything, basically.
Yeah.
So I collapsed on a Friday night. It was like 11 or so at night, and I just remember getting up because I needed water, and I didn't feel good. Something just felt off. I'm lucky that everybody was home and that hitting the floor is very loud.
Yes. Yes, you are.
I had convulsions, so convulsions look like a seizure. Everybody knows what a seizure looks like.
For the most part, yeah.
And then I don't really remember anything after that. I got to the hospital. I was in the hospital for about a week. And I started having heart issues. My heart rate it was very low. It was hard to regulate that. And the first 2 days in the hospital, I remember nothing besides the machines going off and my family members crying occasionally. And the only thing that I took away from it for quite a while was the doctor came one morning, I think, and said he wasn't sure what was going on, and he didn't know when I was going to wake up. And I remember just thinking to myself, I'm wide awake, I'm right here. Just talk to me, like, what's happening? And then I don't remember anything else after that for quite a while. It turns out my diagnosis that week was that I had scarlet fever, and then an underlying possible diagnosis of Crohn's disease, and something with my heart that's yet to be diagnosed. And so my body at the time just couldn't handle it, and I shut down. I made it through, obviously.
We're happy about that.
Yeah. 2 years later, still kicking, but
Yay!
here we are.
Well, that was probably the scariest time for the majority of our family.
Yeah, well, we didn't have a lot of answers. And we didn't get answers
No.
how we wanted to, or when
From
we
the
wanted
one
to.
who spent all the nights with you, I wanted to break all of those machines.
I appreciate it. I don't remember it, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, there was definitely one night where I went out to the nurse's desk and I looked at the nurse and I said, "Can I throw your heart rate monitor out the window, please?" And she was like, "I get where you're coming from, but no." It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking back, is there anything that you could take away from in a positive? I know it was a pretty traumatizing experience for us all, but
honestly, the big thing would just be hope is an incredible feeling, and it seems to be very dim and very far away. It doesn't shine very bright, it's not very inviting, but it is there. And when you find it, hold on to it very, very tightly because it felt, the uncertainty was overwhelming to say the least. But I had my family there, obviously. I knew I was in the hospital, I knew I was safe. And there was just that little bit of hope that just kept slapping me in the face. It was just like, you can't give up now, and I just held on to that. So,
good for you.
yeah.
So now we're here, and your life is far better than it was, and your health is far better than it was. What does life look like now, mental health wise, in general, coping mechanisms?
Well, quarantine, #Corona. It's much better. I'm going to school in the fall
Oh, nice.
to become a paramedic, so that's that little bit of hope I'm holding on to now.
Good.
Um,
We're also very proud of you for getting accepted.
Thank you. Mental health wise, definitely in a much healthier place than I have been. I have a counselor now. I'm on medications, which has made quite a difference, I want to say. Coping mechanisms, it's just a lot of keeping myself out of my head, basically.
So how does that look?
I spend a lot of time with music, art, so drawing, painting, a lot of movement. So not necessarily like a structured workout or exercise, but walking my dog, wrestling with Christy.
That's our other sister.
Yes. Just keeping my body at least semi-active.
That makes sense.
I can honestly say I've spent a lot of quarantine asleep.
Fair. Fair.
It's hard because you don't want to run away from anything. You don't want to just push it down or not talk about it. But it's hard having to sit with it all of the time. So I just try and keep myself busy.
That makes sense. Alright, for the final 3 questions, which are my trademark questions. You ready for them?
Oh yes.
Alright, piece of advice you would tell your younger self.
I would have told myself to learn how to ask for help sooner. Not necessarily anything big, but I didn't have to do everything I did alone. And I would never wish that on anybody, so.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Alright, next one. Piece of advice for somebody else.
Get to know yourself.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a big
Yeah.
one.
It works in so many different ways because it doesn't matter how much people know about you, how much your doctors know about you, how much your dog knows about you. If you don't know yourself, then you don't know if you need help or what kind of help you need or where you're going. And I feel like that just intensifies everything.
Makes sense.
Basically.
Alright, last one. What do you want to see changed for future generations?
Well, less stigma is the big one around mental health. I don't want it to be. I want to make mental health not a bad thing, not any less important or less valued than any other health issue, basically.
That makes sense. You did it!
I did
Good
it.
job! You can breathe again.
Thank heavens.
Well, thank you for doing this and for putting up with my ideas.
You're welcome.
I'm sure I will coax you into some more over the next week, probably. Because you're all I got right now.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
But I appreciate this. So, yeah! Alright, bye everybody!